What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. This is going to be a bit of a different story for you because when it comes to calling elections, a lot of channels have said it's the end of Justin Trudeau, it's over, we're going to see an election. I've made my predictions on when I believe we're going to see a possible early election. However, whenever these things pop up, it's always great to talk about them, and it's good to maybe point out one glimmer of hope that maybe we'll see an election sooner than later. I know that the countdown is on. I know everybody's impatient. Everybody wants to see Trudeau go, but I do want to talk about a new offer that's been put on the table for Jagmeet Singh to break his ties to Justin Trudeau, to call an election. And this one might be a little too much of a carrot on a stick that Jagmeet might actually bite, would be my concern. Although it would definitely highlight everything we've accused him of all along, and I'm going to get into that. But before we get into today's video, folks, I want to remind you, and I know people are sick of me talking about it and shameless plugs, but you guys asked for it. I feel that these videos are the best place to advertise it. If you're shopping for Christmas gifts this year, we have now offered Canada First merchandise in our shop down below. You can find a link in the video description as well as below the YouTube video in the shop button. We now have Canada First merchandise on the store. We have 2 designs to choose from, multiple pieces of clothing, whether it's t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, whatever you're looking for, as well as Maple MAGA merchandise that is all on sale right now in the store. The reason I'm bringing this up, the reason why you should outfit yourself with unacceptable Fringe merchandise before Christmas is if you're looking for gifts for somebody, not only are these shirts comfortable, absolutely amazing to wear, but at the same time, every purchase that comes in between now and the final week before Christmas, Unacceptable Fringe will be taking a large portion of the proceeds from all of these purchases and donating them to helping our local veterans. So every purchase you make is helping veterans at a time of need, at a time of the season when they need an extra hand and a helping out. And it's always our pleasure to do things to help out. So if you want to get some Canada First merch, some Maple MAGA, or just some Unacceptable Fringe merch, make sure to head down below to our spread shop. Again, the link will be down below in the description and also on the shop button on the channel. With that being said, let's get into today's story. Enough of the shameless plugs. Brett Wilson, if you're not aware of who he is, he was a former Dragon's Den panelist as well as a wealthy Calgary businessman who is now putting, essentially, as I said earlier, a carrot on a stick for Jagmeet Singh when it comes to why we haven't seen an election yet. Pierre Poilievre has said that he's essentially looking for his golden parachute. Well, Brett Wilson now offering said golden parachute to Jagmeet Singh to call an election. Again, saying that he's pledging private funding for Singh's pension if he calls an election already. Calgary businessman and Dragon's Den panelist Brett Wilson announced he would arrange for private funding for NDP leader Jagmeet Singh if he quits propping up Justin Trudeau's Liberals. The proposition follows images circulating on social media of Singh getting into a $200,000 vehicle on Parliament Hill. The NDP has backed Prime Minister Justin Trudeau since 2021 through a supply and confidence agreement. Singh, who ripped up said coalition agreement, we know he actually didn't, this past fall, only to tape it back together again a few weeks later, has oscillated between condemning Trudeau to the press and backing him in the House of Commons. The NDP leader has blamed his continued support of the Prime Minister on the Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, claiming Trudeau's bad leader, but Poilievre would be even worse. Finally, Wilson, along with many Canadians apparently, as recent polling projects the Conservatives will win a supermajority in the next election, decided he's tolerated Singh's wishy-washy approach for politics for long enough. I can arrange private funding to cover his pension if he allows now for an election in the early months of 2025 for the sake of the future of Canada, wrote Wilson on Twitter X. Of course, you can see that down here with Jagmeet coming out of this vehicle with his fancy suits. It says, I can arrange now for private funding to cover the pension. Retweeting Candace Malcolm saying that NDP leader Jagmeet Singh seems to be fully embracing the whole champagne socialist persona. Here he is getting into a $200,000 SUV on Parliament Hill. Wow. Now, of course, he's hanging out in a Maserati. It's absolutely preposterous. This is what we pay for. The next election is scheduled for October 21st of 2025, but the House could call for a snap election at any time through a non confidence vote. The Conservatives had tabled multiple votes on non-confidence in both the federal government and the Prime Minister himself, but the NDP continues to support the Liberals. The Bloc previously supported the Liberals, hoping they would expedite two key Bloc bills, but they were unsuccessful and have now started to turn against the Liberals. The Greens support the NDP Liberal coalition, which doesn't amount to much, while independent MPs trend to support opposition as well. However, until the NDP votes non-confidence, there aren't enough votes to force an election. While the NDP have denied continuing the coalition has anything to do with pensions, of which Singh is eligible for at the end of February, the two parties have held secret meetings to discuss the Elections Act. More than 100 MPs across parties are eligible for their pension, which goes into effect after 6 years serving as a House representative, a week after the next scheduled election. So keep in mind, again, I've reported on this channel that the Elections Commissioner has stated they are no longer going to entertain the idea of extending Canada's election dates past what Justin Trudeau labeled were other religious holidays that might reduce voter turnout. This was all a ploy to extend the dates so that that week after the next scheduled election, automatically those MPs that are going to be ousted would get their tax paid pensions, the government taxpayer pensions. The Liberals and the NDP are coalescing to push the scheduled election back 1 week, claiming it would interfere with Diwali celebrations, as I stated. Now, what's important to say here is that W. Brett Wilson has made this offer saying it has to come through right away. It's also stating that Jagmeet gets his pension as of February of 2025. Now, as for my predictions, I think that, again, we may see after the Christmas break, early into the new year, confidence vote being put through, because if Jagmeet really only cares about his pension, by the time an election is held, his pension would already be garnered. So he really doesn't care at that point. His golden parachute is guaranteed. Although, while it would be entertaining to see W. Brett Wilson pushing for an election sooner than later, I don't think it's going to happen. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I still think it's fun to talk about those things on the channel. I think it's fun to bring that up and see what you guys think about that. So with that said, let me know down below. Do you think Jagmeet's going to take the bait? Do you think he's going to take a privately funded offer to give up his pension? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Don't forget, as you're hitting that button, to turn on your bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show where we go over everything that's happened this week in politics, everything coming up in the week ahead, as well as some back and forth with myself and my beautiful wife, Mrs. Fringe. And it all takes place here Friday at 6 p.m. excuse me, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.